Hello, I'm Mayor Cheryl Lewy from the Village of Larchmont, and I'd like to welcome you to this version of Larchmont Notes. Today is Wednesday, November 28th, and I have a very special guest with me today, Chief Stephen D. Rubeo, Chief of the Larchmont Police Department. Hi, Steve.
How are you, Cheryl?
Thank you, Chief, for joining me.
Thank you.
The Chief, since 911, has taken on a new responsibility. It's one that he had a role that he played earlier, but we have, as a village board, really formalized it, and that's as Emergency Preparedness Coordinator. We're very appreciative, Steve.
Well, thank you for trusting me enough to designate me as Emergency Coordinator.
Well, that was easy. I think what the community might find interesting is that in all the years that I've been involved in village government, we've always had one of our former fire chiefs, a respected member of the community, serve in the capacity of emergency coordinator, and it's been a co-chairmanship job most of the time. And in the years that we were responding to hurricanes, power outages, ice storms, that really was a policy and a procedure that was working for us. 911 turned the whole world inside out and upside down.
Absolutely.
And really caused the village board, as well as all of our professionals who provide emergency services, to take a hard look at how we were doing in the community, what our procedures were, what we might want to change, and what we were doing. And so we have made some shifts in allocation of personnel and procedures.
Well, with 911, we have to realize, as the board does and as the village residents do, that now terrorism is just as important as our natural disasters, and we have to prepare for them accordingly, and that is what we are in the process of doing, both at the local level, at the state level, and at the federal level. We are coordinating all of our efforts together as much as humanly possible, just to make sure that the citizenry here understand that we're doing everything within our power. And with the help of the mayor and the board of trustees, we're going to be able to do a fine job.
Oh, I'm sure of that. And you've been on the job at this continuously, as well as members of your department, since 911.
Well, since September 11th, we have been basically engaged in nonstop training, both at the local level and for myself and the other command level staff at a little higher level. But just to let the residents know exactly of how we've been preparing for this, the police officers at the rank and file level have been preparing for this with the fire department locally, and also with the Westchester County Police Academy and the Office of Emergency Management. They're hosting and offering training seminars for first responders, because police officers are, along with the fire department, the first responding personnel to the scene, and they have to be prepared, because incident control at the most basic level is extremely important. It's important for the residents to know exactly how we're proceeding. It's important for us to know, to get the information back, to feedback and filter up to the higher level, so that they know what we're dealing with, so we can get whatever type of backup we need from them. And I have to just guarantee the village of Larchmont, the residents and the mayor and the board of trustees, that the state and the federal government have been extremely helpful. They are trying, and it's a monumental task. People have to realize that, and I believe that they do. It's a monumental task to prepare for something like this, from the top level on down, from the governor's office, from the president of the United States office, through the federal government on down, and have it trickle down to the local level. But we are doing absolutely everything we can. I've been to numerous seminars, the most recent being the International Association Chief of Police up in Toronto, and they have pretty much drilled into us what they expect from us, and we have given them information as to what we expect from them, because we do need help. So I'm just proud to say that we are going to get what we need, and hopefully we will never ever need it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what the command officers in our department have done in terms of training.
Well, in terms of training, we are now sending our upper level officers, the sergeants and the lieutenant and the captain, up to the county to be part of a train the trainer program. They come back, they get information, and they retrain the officers at the local level, because you can never have enough training for incidents of this nature. New York City was not prepared for what happened, because they just could not have been prepared, and they acknowledged that it was something that came basically out of left field, out of the blue. So our best defense is to constantly train and be diligent, and to expect the unexpected, and that's what our command level officers are presently doing. Nonstop seminars, was in Albany about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Director Hallstrom, I think that the people will recognize his face from the FBI Special Agent in Charge from the Flight 800 incident, TWA Flight 800 out in Long Island. He directed that, and when he retired from the FBI, Governor Pataki appointed him to our New York State Head of Homeland Security. He called a meeting together of all the local police chiefs, and he is once again giving us as much information as possible. They've set up a special task force, a state task force in New York City that we are welcome to be a part of and send our personnel down there and train jointly with them, and also to get information from them that would not readily be available if we were not a part of this task force. And we're trying to avail ourselves to every option that's out there so that we can make sure we have the highest level of service.
And covering a lot of meetings. Tomorrow, actually,
Yes.
3 of us are splitting to cover 3
Yeah.
simultaneous meetings that are going on
Yes.
On emergency training. I'm doing one from the New York Conference of Mayors. It's an all-day seminar. You're off to another.
To White Plains. Each and every month, the Westchester County Police Chiefs Association hosts monthly meetings, and they have guest speakers. Last month was the regional director for the White Plains branch of the FBI, and we've gone over and over and over again the actual response and certain procedures for terrorist incidents, and we're just making sure that we have our contact information in line, because we have to reach out to people. We need these everyday contacts. We need to network, and that's what we're constantly doing day in and day out here.
And I know that it carries over even at my level. There have been numerous programs and seminars and meetings for elected officials. We also get together regularly. There's a Council of Governments that meets with the chief executive from the county, Andy Spano, with the head of the legislature, George Latimer, the chairman of the Board of Legislatures, and the entire elected group of mayors and supervisors. And one of the things that's come up at those meetings is Indian Point, and I know I'm beginning to get questions here in the community about Indian Point. How safe is it? How safe are we? Are we in the evacuation area? Is there a plan? And you and I were talking about it earlier before the show started.
Well, the state and the federal government have gone basically head over heels to make sure that target has been hardened, that it is not terrorist proof, because nothing in this day and age can be terrorist proof, but they've given us a basic level of assurance that as far as a plane strike such as the one that happened on 9/11, we're pretty confident that those concrete bunkers that house the nuclear cores will be able to withstand that. There are boat patrols. The Coast Guard constantly patrols up and down the river to make sure there are no threats. There's a state police vehicle posted at the front of Indian Point to monitor vehicle traffic in and out and around Indian Point. Private security within the walls have been stepped up. The Civil Air Patrol constantly patrols overhead, and it's restricted airspace. We feel pretty confident that we will not have to worry about contingency plans for a strike at Indian Point.
And I have great confidence. I mean, as someone that has been involved in government for a long time, I have a great deal of confidence in our county government and the steps that they have taken to coordinate with the state and federal government to protect Indian Point. And I know there are concerns about evacuation plans, especially moving children out of the area if there was a problem. But I think that people can have confidence that professionals like Chief Rubeo, like those at the state level and the county level, are working on each of those really specific items as well as broad plans.
Oh, absolutely.
I know I have that confidence.
Absolutely. They pulled out all stops. I've never heard a no, we can't do this because of budgetary constraints. No, we can't do this because of manpower. Presently, the Westchester County Police Department has stepped up patrols and security around the Westchester Airport. We all know that in Larchmont we're in a flight path. The Westchester County Police are constantly going through Westchester County Airport, making sure that they can provide adequate security around the perimeter. And I believe they're also hiring up to 70 to 75 new additional police officers for Westchester County. So we have all the help we need. We have extremely professional and proficient police officers, not only in Larchmont, but it's in this entire county, along with the firefighters. They'll do an outstanding job if they need to be.
We also wanted to share with everybody the procedures that we're following locally in case somebody's concerned about their mail, whether they're worried that perhaps something they've received might have anthrax in it, and how to deal with that. So we ought to go over the local procedures that we have.
First, before we even get into that, I'd just like to add that we have not had one single anthrax confirmed mailing within Westchester County. We don't anticipate that we're going to have one, but we have to be prepared. For the most part, there have been no confirmed anthrax new mailings for the last few weeks, so everything seems to just be residually left over from the original first few mailings. But if an individual, and we do get these calls quite frequently here, because rightfully so, people do have apprehensions when they get a suspicious package, and we should be the persons who respond and take care of it at the initial investigatory stage. What we would like to tell each and every one of you out there is immediately, if you get a suspicious package, do not shake it. Some people will shake it, hold it up to the light, see if they can find out what's in it. That will just make it more airborne if there is not a tight seal on that envelope or package. If you believe it to be suspicious, we need you to take it and put it in some type of an airtight container. Most people have around their house Ziploc bags or Tupperware. If they could just take that, seal it into a Ziploc bag or a Tupperware container, we'd be able to respond and have a little more comfort level, because at that point we call the Office of Emergency Management and we relate to them what we have. Once we show up at your house, we'll contact them directly. We will go through a checklist with them, and they will tell us how to deal with the package or the suspicious mailing, because not all are suspicious. We know that they're suspicious to the individual citizen, but there might be certain information that OEM has that would automatically allow us to just nullify that threat and say, no, this is an ordinary package. They have these things by the thousands by week's end. If you don't have a container to seal it in, just cover it. Put something over it, leave it exactly where it was when you first discovered it, when you took it out of your mailbox, you put it on your kitchen table, just cover it, and then leave the room. Get out of the room, close the door, call us from some other phone. We of course will respond. In the meantime, wash your hands, make sure you get everything off of you. Do not rub your eyes. People always do that. It's just a normal reaction. If there's something that's aerosol, you might just have the automatic reaction, just go and rub your nose. Please try not to do that, because the only fatalities that we know from anthrax are from inhalation anthrax. Once it gets into your system, then there's a whole host of problems, and it's almost certain that it's going to be fatal. So try to keep your hands away from your eyes and your nose and your mouth, please. If you're at home, once again, you'll call us. If you're at your workplace, inform your supervisor immediately, and then everybody, of course, will leave that area in your workspace. If you happen to get the powder on, if you open it or if it's damaged and there is some powder and the powder gets onto your clothing, once again, do not do anything to put your hands in the proximity of your face. If you have a garbage bag or a big, one of the big lawn and leaf bags, stand in the middle of the lawn and leaf bag in a restroom or in your bathroom and disrobe, take all your clothes so that they will fall without ruffling them, fall into the bag, seal it up, and then you'll take a shower. The shower should be with just hot soapy water. There's been a lot of publicity about how bleach will actually kill the anthrax. Please don't do that, because it's caustic. It can open up sores or wounds, and the anthrax could get into your body that way. And it's just not advisable to wash with bleach. Once that happens, once again, we'll respond. The police officers will gauge the threat. They'll call Office of Emergency Management. If the fire department is necessary, they will respond. They have Tyvek suits, as do we, gas masks, and all the equipment necessary to make sure that everything is contained. The fire department, if they're necessary and they respond, they will triple bag the item in sealed plastic containers. And then OEM will direct us as to how we should store that or send the package to them for further testing. Initially, at the onset of all these threats, there was just so many things coming in that really weren't a threat, that OEM originally told us to have the resident retain it. We don't want the residents to retain it now. We have storage facilities on site. If it is that suspicious, we will take it, we will store it in-house in secured airtight containers here for the proper testing with the FBI, CDC, or OEM.
Thank you for that comprehensive review. We are also, as a board, looking into and analyzing with our emergency personnel the request for additional equipment
Yes.
for different protocols and procedures which might need a different use of space, so that we can set up a secondary command center if we
Yeah.
need to. The village board is also looking into providing generator facilities for this entire building. The portion of the building that was original prior to the renovation that was done 2 years ago was on an emergency generator. Due to the cost cutting in the course of the construction, the entire building is not on the generator, and we feel, in the light of what happened on 9/11, I certainly feel this way, that we need this one facility to be totally able to run 24 hours a day
Yes.
for a sustained period of time. So we're looking at being able to be fully operative for 24 hours a day, for at least 7 days on a generator if we had to,
Yes.
and then have enough generator capacity to run other major services in the village, such as the sanitation system, the sewer system, which would have to run partially on generators. So
Yeah.
there are other complex issues that we are analyzing, but putting a lot of energy towards that, having regular meetings with our emergency command
Yes.
group that Chief Rubeo is leading.
Jointly with the fire department and the volunteer ambulance corps, we are constantly in contact with one another and establishing and revising procedures so that when we do have to respond, there's a comprehensive plan. Everybody knows exactly what is expected of them. And just one other thing I need to add, Mayor. With regards to suspicious packages that you might bring into police headquarters, because this is basically the life's blood of the village of Larchmont, this building right here. If you do have a suspicious package in your possession and you want to bring it to police headquarters, we have to ask that you do not enter the station house itself. There is a sign posted on the front door. We ask you to come around, use the payphone, call us on 911. We will respond to the front of the building, because if this building does happen to get contaminated, it will interfere with our ability to respond if we have to decontaminate the entire building. So we do need your assistance in that matter, but we don't see it as being a major problem.
And I guess another piece of information that people might want to know is that we are also protecting our water system. We have just installed new security fencing around the major water tanks that pressurize and maintain the system. And Joe Morgan, our village engineer, has taken a hard look at our water supply, which is connected to the Westchester Joint Waterworks. They have additional security and procedures in place to protect the water as it arrives in the village, and we have secured it within the village.
Yes, and we need to just ask the residents to try to engage in some kind of rumor control. The worst thing we could do at this point in time is to spread a rumor that would cause panic, and sometimes people, they have concerns, and one person tells another person, and sooner or later the message gets distorted. One of the messages that I've heard is with the water supply here in Westchester County, that people are concerned about contaminants. Just to clarify that, the amount of toxins that would be necessary to contaminate our water system would be the big tankers that you see hauling fuel or milk down the post road. There would have to be numerous tankers of toxins deposited in our reservoir system, because it is so filtered, it is so vast, that by the time it would filter down to us, if it was just some kind of a local 55-gallon barrel of toxins, it would not affect the quality of our water whatsoever. So please try to engage in some type of rumor control. If you hear something, you see anything suspicious, please call us immediately. As police officers, we can only be at certain places at certain times. If you see anything that's suspicious, call us at once, and that's our job. We'll respond and we'll take appropriate action. It's better to be a little bit overly cautious than to be undercautious in this environment. That does not mean overreact and panic and target individuals who normally would not raise your eyebrow, but just use a little bit of common sense. If you see something out of the ordinary, someone in some place or around some place that you don't think they should be, someone in the middle of the train station, on the tracks, in the middle of the night, in dark clothing, with something suspicious, a bag, those are things that should come to our attention. Just please call us. We'd be more than happy to respond, and just to do our job, just to serve the public, make sure that we can do everything possible, because this is one entire complete and entire process. Local law enforcement, and we've been told this time and time again from the federal and the state governments, they know that we are the first line of defense. We are only the first line of defense if we get the proper information from the public so that we can act on it, so we can take preventive policing measures. So your cooperation is very much appreciated, and any problems, 911 or 834-1000, please.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
We've taped this show, as we said in the beginning, on Wednesday, November 28th. Since some of the information may change over time, we'll try to keep you updated. Feel free to call me or call the chief or the police department at any time, or any trustee. All our numbers are listed in the phone book. And we are happy to serve the community and keep it as safe as we possibly can. And please, if you have questions about anything else, please contact us. And I guess I would just like to make a plug to shop locally this holiday season to support our local merchants. There's free parking at the Larchmont train station at the upper lot on Saturdays and Sundays. So if you've been circling around and you can't find a place to park, remember you can always park at the train station for free at the upper lot on Saturdays and Sundays, and really take advantage of our wonderful community. I wish everybody a very happy, healthy, safe holiday, a peaceful holiday, and hope that all the tremors of the last couple of months subside, and we can all breathe a sigh of relief at that. But wishing you a happy season, and thank you for joining us.
Thank
See
you.
you next time. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.